Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Bold and beautiful today. Steffi senseless when she sees Luna appear at Luna's funeral. When Luna wakes up to Lee's shock, Steffi and Hope start to worry about missing Liam. While Luna Nozawa awakens to Lee Finnegan's stunner, Steffi Forrester and Hope Logan will be in a panic over losing Liam Spencer. More sorrow and sadness over Luna's terrible destiny will surface over the week of July 14th to 18th. John Finnegan and Sheila Sharp will both wish Luna had had a longer life rather than having it cut short. There is more to the story, though, because Lee has been supporting Luna in spite of her errors and making cryptic remarks. Because of Lee's cunning, it's safe to assume that Luna is still alive and hidden. According to additional spoilers for B&B, Grace Buckingham will have to have another urgent operation because Liam will require one. Finn and Bridget Forrester will talk about Liam's courage and strength in spite of everything he has faced. Bill is going to do something startling when Liam survives his procedure. If Bill receives updates, this might have something to do with Liam's incurable brain tumor and his refusal to let it take his life. In any event, Hope and Steffi can become alarmed when they realize that Liam is gone since Bill will take him from the hospital while he is still asleep. Will Steffi and Hope ever realize that Bill is to blame for this? When Brooke Logan and Taylor Hayes put up a united front, Ridge Forrester will be happy. Ridge, Brooke, and Taylor will band together to assist Liam during his journey. Ridge has accepted Taylor's wedding proposal, so they might start planning while Brooke concentrates on Nick Marone. With a visit to Forrester Creations, Nick will have the opportunity to excel and win Brooke over. Nick and Brooke may decide to finalize their plans for Italy during the week of July 21st to 25th. It appears that Nick will try to persuade Brooke to accompany him on the most romantic journey imaginable. Brooke might find it easier to join the team if there is some Forrester business to attend to in Naples and Capri in the near future. Ridge's jealousy will rise up, so his planned trip with Nick and Brooke won't go well. Before the month is out, the vacation to Italy will begin, but first, let's return to the Liam action. Bill may decide to enroll Liam in an experimental therapy program, but if he assumes control of the issue, he might encounter greater resistance from Hope and Steffi. In the upcoming weeks, viewers might finally catch a peek of Luna recuperating in a private setting. When Lee confesses that she staged her death, Luna will eventually wake up and be shocked. Lee might clarify that she is allowing Luna another chance to escape jail time and preventing her from seeing Poppy Nozawa, who, in Lee's opinion, destroyed Luna's life. Hope Logan and Steffi Forrester stood frozen outside Liam Spencer's conspicuously empty room. The machines were silent, the bed stripped bare, a chilling void where moments ago their shared, complicated love had lain vulnerable yet present. Where is he? Steffi's voice, usually commanding, trembled with a fear that mirrored the wild panic widening Hope's eyes. The frantic query to the passing nurse yielded nothing, no transfer order, no discharge, just bewildered shrugs. Liam, critically ill, fresh from another urgent surgery Grace Buckingham had performed to stabilize him after unforeseen complications, couldn't have just vanished. Yet, the stark emptiness screamed the impossible. Their rivalry, their history, the tangled threads of their lives woven through Liam's heart, dissolved instantly in the face of this shared terror. Gone. The word echoed in the stark corridor, amplifying the dread that had already settled over them since the diagnosis of his inoperable brain tumor. Finn and Bridget's earlier, somber reflections on Liam's quiet bravery in the face of overwhelming odds now felt like cruel preludes to this fresh nightmare. Had his strength finally failed? Or had something far more sinister intervened? Their minds raced, picturing the worst, a catastrophic medical event whisked away, a desperate, failed escape, or, a chilling thought taking root, an act born of twisted paternal love. Bill Spencer. His name hung unspoken but potent between them, a man whose volcanic emotions and boundless resources made the unthinkable terrifyingly plausible. Would Bill, faced with the specter of losing his son to an incurable fate, truly go rogue? The shared glance between Hope and Steffi, stripped bare of past animosity, held only one terrifying question: had Bill Spencer just kidnapped their Liam? While panic engulfed the hospital, miles away, consciousness returned to Luna Nozawa in agonizing slowness, a heavy fog lifting to reveal not celestial light, but the muted tones of an unfamiliar, clinically quiet room. Disorientation warred with profound physical weakness. The last shards of memory were jagged and dark, the crushing weight of guilt over her disastrous mistakes, the terrifying confrontation, then, nothing. Oblivion. Yet, here she was, achingly, undeniably alive. The shock of that realization was eclipsed only by the sight of Lee Finnegan sitting vigil beside her, her expression a complex tapestry of relief, steely resolve, and profound sorrow. "Luna," Lee's voice was soft but carried an undeniable gravity. "You're safe." Safe? The word felt alien. Luna struggled to form a question, her throat parched, her mind reeling. How? Why? Lee leaned closer, her eyes holding Luna's with an intensity that brooked no evasion. "They think you're dead, Luna." The words landed like physical blows. Dead? The horrifying finality of it stole her breath. Images flashed, Sheila's predatory satisfaction, Finn's grim disappointment, the world believing her life, already spiraling, had met a sordid end. Grief and regret, sentiments Lee herself had acknowledged feeling alongside Finn just days prior, wishing Luna could have found redemption instead of this perceived tragic finale, now seemed like a haunting epitaph. "I died?" Luna rasped, the concept impossible to grasp. Lee's nod was slow, deliberate. "Officially, yes. But the truth?" She paused, the weight of her actions settling over her. "The truth is I made them believe that." The admission wasn't just cryptic anymore, it was a seismic shock. Lee Finnegan, the epitome of medical ethics and controlled fury, had orchestrated a deception of monumental proportions. "I saw no other way," Lee continued, her voice gaining strength, laced with a fierce protectiveness that bordered on ferocity. "Poppy." Her lip curled with undisguised venom. "Poppy ruined you, Luna. She fed you poison, filled your head with lies, set you on this destructive path. Letting you face prison, become another casualty of her chaos? I couldn't allow it. This is your chance. A second chance forged in the fires of a fabricated death." Luna stared, struggling to process the enormity. Lee hadn't just saved her life, she'd erased it, condemning her to a phantom existence, severed from everyone and everything she knew, all to shield her from Poppy's toxic influence and the crushing weight of legal consequences. The grim fate everyone mourned was a carefully constructed lie, and Luna was now its living, breathing, utterly trapped secret. Back at the hospital, the chilling suspicion crystallizing in Steffy and Hope's minds felt like the only explanation that fit the terrifying void. Liam, unconscious, critically vulnerable, spirited away without a trace? Only Bill Spencer possessed the audacity, the resources, and the consuming, desperate love to attempt such a reckless act. Finn, arriving amidst the chaos, confirmed their worst fears grew more plausible by the second. No medical reason for transfer, no paperwork. Bill, Steffy breathed, the name a curse and a plea rolled into one. He couldn't just take him. But the dawning horror in Hope's eyes confirmed she believed he absolutely could, and likely had. Bill, confronted with the bleak prognosis, the inoperable label that felt like a death sentence for his son, had clearly snapped. His shocking act was one of radical, terrifying paternal defiance. Was he racing towards some clandestine clinic, some fringe experimental treatment he believed could succeed where conventional medicine failed? The thought offered a sliver of desperate hope tangled with profound terror. What if the journey itself killed Liam? What if the treatment was monstrous? Their shared panic mutated into a frantic need for action. They needed to find Bill, track his movements, storm Spencer Publications, anything to reclaim Liam from his father's potentially catastrophic grasp. This unexpected, desperate alliance between Hope and Steffy, forged in the crucible of Liam's illness, was now their only weapon against Bill's unilateral, dangerous decision. Amidst this maelstrom of crisis, a quieter, yet significant, alliance was solidifying. Ridge Forrester found a rare moment of solace witnessing Taylor Hayes and Brooke Logan present a united front. Liam's dire situation had momentarily dissolved decades of rivalry and resentment. Seeing them together, focused solely on supporting Liam, their shared history with him a bridge rather than a battlement, eased a burden on Ridge's shoulders. It was a poignant reminder of the family bonds that could resurface in times of profound need. Discussing Taylor's wedding idea provided a brief, bittersweet distraction, a planning session for a future celebration that felt both hopeful and fragile against the backdrop of Liam's fight. Brooke, however, sought a different kind of solace, her focus shifting towards Nick Marone. His arrival at Forrester Creations felt timely, an anchor in her storm. Nick, perceptive and ever attentive, saw her distress and offered not just comfort, but escape. He deftly steered conversation towards the burgeoning plans for Forrester's expansion, specifically, the necessary business trip to Italy to finalize details in Naples and Capri. "It's the perfect time, Brooke," he urged, his voice a low, persuasive murmur. "Son, see, a chance to breathe, away from all this intensity. We can handle the business, but we can also reconnect. Find some peace, maybe even a little romance?" He painted a picture of Italian vistas and stolen moments, a pressure Brooke, overwhelmed by hospital vigils and the terror of Liam's disappearance, found increasingly hard to resist. The promise of Capri's azure waters seemed a siren call away from the suffocating anxiety of LA. Unbeknownst to Brooke, however, Nick's ambitions extended far beyond business logistics. He saw this trip as the pivotal moment to finally pull her decisively closer, away from Ridge's orbit. The news of Nick and Brooke's impending Italian sojourn, however, would soon land like a grenade in Ridge's fragile peace. The jealousy that simmered beneath his dignified concern for Liam would inevitably flare into open resentment. The image of Brooke in Capri with Nick, amidst the romance of Italy, while his family grappled with Liam's life hanging in the balance, would strike Ridge as a profound betrayal. That trip, promising escape for Brooke, threatened to ignite a fresh firestorm upon their return. But for now, the immediate crisis consumed all. Bill Spencer, operating in a shadowy world fueled by desperation and wealth, had Liam. Hope and Steffy, united in their terror and fury, were determined to find him, even if it meant confronting the formidable, potentially unhinged, patriarch on his own turf. Their shared love for Liam, however complicated, was now a lifeline thrown across the chasm of their past. And Luna Nozawa, waking not to judgment or prison bars, but to the suffocating silence of a hidden sanctuary, faced the staggering reality of Lee's sacrifice and deception. Her life, officially extinguished, had been forcibly rebooted. The burden of this secret, the isolation from her mother Poppy, the very person Lee blamed for her downfall, and the world that mourned her, was a new kind of prison. As Lee meticulously monitored her recovery in that secluded room, Luna grappled with the profound shock of her borrowed existence, alive, but a ghost, free, but utterly bound by the woman who had rewritten her fate to save her from a ruin she had, undeniably, helped create. The panic over Liam's absence and the shock of Luna's hidden awakening were two violently spinning plates in the high-stakes circus of Los Angeles, each threatening to shatter with devastating consequences, their fates precariously intertwined by the desperate, dangerous, and deeply flawed love of those who sought to control them. Luna's death spreads as Bill pays Liam a visit. Bill Spencer should keep pleading for Liam Spencer to see him in the hospital. Meanwhile, news of Luna Nozawa's passing keeps getting out. Let's discuss the upcoming events in the CBS soap opera as you continue reading. Bill Spencer's hopelessness. After Liam was shot and had surgery, Bill has arrived at the hospital. Let's start with him. But Steffy Forrester Finnegan blamed Bill for the incident right away. Naturally, Bill was the one who secured Luna's pardon. Bill will keep crying over Liam and expressing his regret. I don't think Steffy would let Bill see Liam. But perhaps Hope Logan was the one who called Bill. After all, she informed Bill of Liam's current whereabouts as soon as he got there. Hope seemed to be anticipating Bill. Steffy does not set the rules for the hospital, even though she would like to ban Bill. Bill is probably still on Liam's emergency contact list at the hospital. Alternatively, Hope Logan, Liam's previous spouse, might be left in charge. Lee Finnegan's fear. Let's now discuss Poppy Nozawa and Lee Finnegan. Poppy didn't shed a tear for her deceased daughter, which appalled Lee. Even if Luna framed her mother, that child is still hers. I can appreciate that people have complex feelings, but acting so coldly? As time goes on, Lee will come to see that Luna never stood a chance with a primary mom like Poppy. The destiny of Liam Spencer. According to upcoming episode spoilers for The Bold and the Beautiful, Hope and Steffy will still be sitting next to Liam's hospital bed. It's conceivable that Hope and Steffy may bond at times, perhaps even over Liam-related anecdotes. Grace Buckingham will also be present. She was the one who revealed Liam had a brain tumor, as fans are aware. John Finnegan was also pressured by Grace to get Liam to accept the treatment. Then, when Finn operated on Liam rather than Grace experienced problems. All of this sounds very suspicious, but I'm curious as to whether Grace is being coerced, threatened, or blackmailed into doing this. Spencer Forrester Logan saga reached a new crescendo of anguish and recrimination. At its heart stood Bill Spencer, a man once defined by imperious power and ruthless control, now reduced to a figure of raw, trembling desperation. His arrival at Liam Spencer's bedside wasn't met with relief, but with the white-hot fury of Steffy Forrester Finnegan, a protective lioness whose grief had sharpened into a weapon aimed squarely at him. Her accusation hung in the air, heavy and undeniable. Liam lay fighting for his life because of Bill. His relentless campaign to clear Luna Nozawa's name, culminating in securing her pardon, was the catalyst that set off the chain reaction leading to the gunshot that felled Liam. Bill's usual bluster was gone, replaced by a profound, gut-wrenching regret that manifested in tears he couldn't suppress, tears for the son whose life he felt responsible for shattering. Yet, Steffy, embodying the collective rage and fear of Liam's inner circle, stood as an immovable barrier, her resolve hardened by trauma. She would not allow the architect of this nightmare near her vulnerable former husband. This primal standoff, however, existed within the cold reality of hospital bureaucracy. Steffy's wishes, however vehement, might not dictate the final word. Lingering on Liam's emergency contact forms, perhaps unchanged through years of familial turmoil, Bill Spencer's name could still hold legal weight, granting him access Steffy would deny with every fiber of her being. Complicating the emotional calculus further was the enigmatic presence of Hope Logan. Her swift notification to Bill upon his arrival, her apparent expectation of him, whispered of a connection or a motive yet unexplored. Was it a daughter-in-law's recognition of a father's undeniable bond, however fractured? Or did Hope, grappling with her own complex history with both men, see Bill's torment as a necessary part of Liam's potential healing journey, believing the son might need the father's presence, however culpable? Hope's position is pivotal. As Liam's most recent legal spouse, her consent could override Steffy's objections or reinforce them, adding another layer of poignant tension to the vigil at Liam's door. Bill's desperate pleas, not commands, but pleas, to see his son, to whisper apologies or simply bear witness to Liam's struggle, promised to be a relentless drumbeat in the coming episodes, a humiliating but necessary purgatory for a man facing the potential ultimate cost of his manipulations. Meanwhile, casting a long, chilling shadow over the hospital drama and the glittering facades of Los Angeles, the news of Luna Nozawa's tragic death rippled outward, a stone dropped into a pond already churning with turmoil. The shockwaves reached Lee Finnegan and Poppy Nozawa with particularly devastating force, but the nature of that devastation revealed a chasm of emotional response that left Lee reeling. Poppy's reaction, or rather the chilling lack thereof, struck Lee as a grotesque aberration. Where Lee expected maternal grief, racking sobs, numbed silence, the shattered look of unbearable loss, Poppy presented a disturbing facade of stone-cold composure. Not a single tear glistened for the daughter whose life had just been brutally extinguished. Lee's horror was palpable and understandable. Luna, despite the recent betrayal involving spiked candy that framed Poppy, was still her child. The complexities of their fraught relationship, the secrets, the resentments, Luna's desperate act born of confusion and pressure, should, in Lee's view, have been drowned out by the primal, irrevocable finality of death. Could Poppy's icy demeanor be a shield against unimaginable pain, a psychological shutdown too profound for tears? Or did it hint at something darker, a deeper fracture in the maternal bond, perhaps even a twisted sense of relief or finality? Lee's perspective sharpened into a painful realization: Luna never stood a chance. Growing up with Poppy, a woman seemingly capable of such detached stoicism in the face of her own daughter's demise, as her primary influence, was a fundamental disadvantage. Lee saw, with stark clarity, the toxic environment that shaped Luna's vulnerabilities, her yearning for stability, and her ultimate, fatal mistakes. This revelation isn't just about judging Poppy, it's a lament for Luna, a child failed long before the bullet found her, and it fuels Lee's resolve to understand the truth behind the chaos and protect those still within her sphere, like Finn, from any lingering fallout. Poppy's unsettling composure isn't just grief withheld, it's a mystery box threatening to spill more secrets about Luna's life and the circumstances surrounding her final, desperate days. Within the hushed, high-stakes environment of Liam's hospital room, a different kind of vigil unfolded, charged with shared history and fragile truces. Hope Logan and Steffy Forrester Finnegan, perennial rivals bound by their love for the same man, found themselves united in a terrifying, intimate space, the space between life and death. Side by side, they kept watch over Liam's still form, the rhythmic beeping of monitors a constant, anxiety-inducing soundtrack. In this crucible of fear, the walls of their long-standing rivalry began, however tentatively, to show hairline fractures. Shared memories surfaced, tales of Liam's unwavering optimism, his sometimes maddening indecisiveness, his fundamental kindness, stories that transcended their individual relationships with him and spoke to the core of who he was. These moments of reminiscence, born of shared terror and affection, offered unexpected, fragile threads of connection. Could this shared trauma forge a temporary, perhaps even lasting, détente between them? Yet, their fragile bubble was punctured by the presence of Grace Buckingham, a figure whose recent actions cast a long shadow of suspicion over Liam's medical care. Grace was the architect of the brain tumor diagnosis that set Liam on this perilous path. She was the one who aggressively pushed Finn to convince Liam to undergo the very surgery that preceded the shooting. And then, her visible agitation when Finn, not she, wielded the scalpel during Liam's life-saving operation, a reaction far exceeding professional disappointment, screamed of ulterior